I don't know what it's like, man, on a Saturday morning to get up and go outside and play with friends and
Mhm.
watch cartoons. And I don't know anything about that because from as far back as I can remember, whenever my father was outside, I had to be outside. You think you have time.
Mhm.
You think you do. And you do, but you're going to run out of it. You're going to run out of it because you're not doing the things that you need to be doing with your time now because you're distracted. You're running after women. I got time. I can get to that da 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 whenever. And bro, you're going to blink. You're going to blink. My son is telling me about it right now. I can remember 20 and it's going like that. I
Mhm.
do hard stuff. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to, not see I'm willing to do delayed gratification and, just work until I get there. That's fine now, Kurt, but I'm up against it. I'm 56. The reality of it is, man, if God is gracious, I probably got another 20 years, man, before I'm in the dirt. But Kurt, I watched his hands get caught in a conveyor belt
Mhm.
on a construction job. And I'm thinking about it now, man, and it makes me cringe that, this was a industrial, huge, this is what you transported concrete from the ground up to another floor on the building. And his hands got caught in that. And yeah, man, everybody's yelling, reverse it, turn it off, and everybody's going crazy. My father's hands come out of that thing. One of his fingers are mangled. Mac, you got to go to the hospital, man. You got to go. No, I'll be all right. Kurt, my father finished the rest of the day, man.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, well, I haven't, forgive me. I ain't thought about that in years. Uh, Tough, man. Tough.
All right. Welcome to the Male to Man podcast. I got a very special guest today. The online dad, the over 50 guy, Willie McKinney is here with us today. I first seen Willie a few months ago online on YouTube, and I could not stop watching his videos. I could not get off his content. Uh, And there's a thing I feel like in man who we want fatherhood and we want that coaching and we don't have it a lot. We don't have it. We don't know where to go from it. So I'm very excited to have Willie today on the podcast to just give us his perspective and kind of just give us some wisdom, knowledge, and game. So how you doing today, Willie?
I am fantastic, Curtis. Thank you for having me, brother. Thank you for having me.
All right. I want to get into my first question and kind of one of the things, the first thing I asked, who is Willie McKinney? How did you get started in this?
You know what, man? Ironically enough, I got started with YouTube, man, as a result of some advice from my son, from my 28-year-old son. You got to understand, Kurt, that I am a different generation. Everything that I know about getting extra money and it's work. You just got to hustle. You got to get out there and make it happen, man. So the ideal of getting online and just talking is kind of foreign to me, man, because again, I came up in a generation, man, where if you ain't working 70, 60 hours a week, you ain't doing nothing, right?
Mhm.
So it was my son, man, a conversation we had about I had ran into some extra retirement money from a job that I was working previous. And I was telling my son how, you know what, man, I'm going to take this money, I'm going to invest in a wheelchair van, I'm going to get certified, and I'm going to take people to doctor's appointments and hospitals. And I would do that before I go to work. I would do that on the weekends. I'll do that on my off days. And that would be like kind of like my side hustle. And his advice to me, Curtis, was that, Pop, that's cool. You can do that. But if you did that, your reach would only be here locally. Now you can do a thing that, you pretty much do with me and my sister, that would make your reach global. And that's just the advice you give to us and talking to us and raising us and helping us. You can do a thing on YouTube and do that exact same thing, and your reach could be not just local, but global. And I didn't conceptualize that at the time, Kurt. It was only later, much later into the process, where I started getting comments, "Hey, shout out, Big Unc from Germany. You're helping us over here in France.
Yeah.
Big ups from Czechoslovakia." And I'm like, "What the?" And it was at that point, man, I'm like, "Okay, I see what my son was talking about, because now I'm getting reach from far more than just my immediate area."
Your son having that foresight, I honestly think is amazing. Cause I mean, it sounds like you would have been happy and cool starting your starting that wheelchair business and picking people up, which probably would have been lucrative. But I'm so glad that he, told you about that and had you trusted him enough to go with it. So I mean, that is an amazing story. But I want the people to know, I guess, more about you, like more about why your son even wanted you to be out. So like, who is Willie McKinney? Like, who are you growing up in your background?
Oh, it's a great question, man. You know what, Kurt? I am your typical everyday. Grew up in a two-parent home, man. I had two older sisters, one brother who's passed away since. Um, Grew up in a very traditional, old school type home, man. Church every Sunday. Mom grew up in the house with us. Dad worked a lot. Um, it was yes, sir, no, ma'am. My father, man, up until the point that he died, he would call you the wrong way, man, and you'd be like, "Yes, sir." Like I came up in that type of environment, man. Respect for elders, respect for authority, is a household that I came up in. School, man, and like scholastics were a challenge for me. Teachers didn't reach me early enough to make like learning and education fun for me. So I kind of fell off the map with that early. It just didn't hold my attention, man. I was in school basically to keep from getting my ass. I'm sorry. Can we? I'm sorry. I,
Nah, we don't cuss a lot on this,
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
but I want you to be yourself. So it's fine. That's what I was about to say. It's fine. Go ahead. Do your
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, man. I went to school for the better part of my life, Curtis, just to keep from getting whippings, because it was the ideal of, you know what, you gonna go to school. You
Mhm.
gonna go to school, and if you can't learn a dang on thing, you gonna sit there and act right.
Yeah.
So that's what I came up with, man. What else? I played sports, man. Wasn't really good. I was just a bigger kid, man, so everybody wanted me in everything, but I wasn't really all that great at it, man. It was just the expectation in my household, especially from my father, that you a big male, so you gonna get out here and do something with a ball. Um, so that was that, man. Graduated, did the typical go to college, try to get a degree like my mom and dad wanted. Had no idea what I really wanted to do. Wasted a lot of time there.
Mhm.
The good thing, man, or the pivotal thing that happened to me right around that time, man, is that I got to work with my father as a union laborer. Started making a lot of money, man, really early. Um, After that, I landed another good job at our local natural gas company here. It was around that time that I found a gym, started working out real tough, man, changed and transformed my body. And that's when things started to go left, started getting attention from a lot of women that I normally wouldn't get. And boosted my self-esteem. Self-esteem was an issue for me a lot in life. Kurt didn't have a lot of that coming up. I didn't grow up with parents that was, "Hey, you can do it. You can be anything you." I grew up with parents was like, "You're gonna do this,
Mhm.
or there's gonna be consequences." So
Mhm.
nobody was instilling, self-worth, value like I do with my kids now. That's something that was very pivotal because I didn't have that coming up. That I just poured into my kids, man. That you are capable, you're smart, you're intelligent, you can do anything. There's nobody hold all of that type of stuff I didn't have coming up, which had a profound effect on my self-esteem. So the gym, man, getting involved with that and all the attention and all of the stuff, man, really changed a lot in my young life. But it came at a cost, man.
Mhm.
It came at an awful cost, man, because that that started a spin of like just wasting a lot of time being distracted with women and sex and that type of thing, and not really building myself, which is what is the core message of my
Mhm.
channel with the young men. That avoiding a lot of the distractions early in life so you can build yourself to the type of man that could have options and resources later in life. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah. I do wanna ask you, um, before we get too deep, like, in your story and in your messaging, we talked off mic a little bit about your dad, and you talked about, kinda the stuff he did to the guys around the neighborhood. Like, what
Mhm.
did he teach you about being a man that you're carrying forward today?
That's a good question, Curtis. The main thing that I got from my father about being a man is about being capable.
Mm,
Being capable, man. As far back as I can remember, it was the idea, man, of as a man, you have to know how to do something. That was my father's main thing coming up. I can't stand a man who don't know how to do nothing.
mm,
Give you a little bit more context on that, Kurt. From the time I was old enough to remember, I don't know what it's like, man, on a Saturday morning to get up and go outside and play with friends and
mm,
watch cartoons, and I don't know anything about that because from as far back as I can remember, whenever my father was outside, I had to be outside. Whenever the hood was up on a car, I had to be outside. I mean, and that was non-negotiable, man. Like that was, that would result in, that's a whipping right there. If
mm,
I'm out here, you're out here. And um, for the longest time, Kurt, I didn't understand why that was because he would never let me do anything. I
mm,
just had to be out there, and I would learn later in life that it was the ideal of watching him and learning. Um, uh, Kurt, by the time I was 12 years old, I could drive a car on the expressway. By the
mm,
time I was 14, I was changing oil on a car. I could take the blade off of a lawnmower and sharpen it. I could change spark plugs. I can change air filters. I can do all of this stuff. But the only reason I learned how to do that, man, is because I was out there with him. And that was a big thing, man. Like as a man, like I cringe, Curtis, when I see nowadays, you see the car pulled over on the road and the young lady is out there fixing stuff and the guy is on his phone, just kind of
yeah,
like, what the hell are you like? You're supposed
yeah,
the expectation early that I got, man, from my father was that as a man, you are expected to provide. You are expected to protect. You're expected to know how to do something,
mm,
right? And that was my thing with him early on, man. I also learned work ethic from my father. My father, man, worked two jobs, Kurt, from the time I was old enough to watch him walk out the door until he retired at 60 some years old. And Curtis, it wasn't like one job was hard and then the other was cake so he can skate. No,
mm,
man, he was a concrete laborer and a dock worker. And it
mhm,
was the idea, Kurt, that like, yeah, I don't need a pat on the back for this. I would ask him later in life before he passed away. I would say, Pop, wouldn't you be tired, man? Working all. He would say, hell yeah, I would be tired. But y'all needed shoes. Y'all needed coats and clothes. I didn't have time to be tired, man. So the work ethic that pretty much says, regardless of what I'm feeling or what I think about it, I gotta go. I gotta do this. And so the ideal of capability and the idea, man, of grinding, man, like
mhm,
those are two main tenets that I got from him coming up. Toughness, man. I watched my father. We were working a construction job, and Kurt, just again for added context, I drive a truck for a living.
mm,
I'm a semi truck driver. I drive from Ohio to Michigan every day. I'm home every night. It's really not a hard job, man. And I
mm.
will be honest with you and telling you half the time I don't want to do that. but
Yeah,
but what keeps me going, man, is when I think about my father. Whenever I get tired, whenever I think about watching what my father did for years, and I'm like, if he could do that, this is nothing. But Kurt, I watched I watched his hands get caught in a conveyor belt
Mm,
on a construction job. And I'm thinking about it now, man, and it makes me cringe that, this was a industrial, huge, this is what you transported concrete from the ground up to another floor on the building. And his hands got caught in that. And yeah, man, everybody's yelling, reverse it, turn it off, turn his, and then everybody's going crazy. My father's hands come out of that thing. One of his fingers are mangled.
mm,
Mac, you got to go to the hospital, man. You got to go. No, no, I'll be all right. Kurt, my father finished the rest of the day, man. Uh,
mm.
yeah. Um, well, I haven't, you got, forgive me. I ain't thought about that in years. Uh, Tough, man. Tough, tough. So capability, work ethic, toughness, man. And I grew up like that. Kurt, I will say of myself, and the only reason I can say this is because of my father. Kurt, you can put me on a bus blindfolded today. You can put me on a bus blindfolded and I'll get off anywhere and I'll eat. I'll
Mm.
eat anywhere. And it is because of those lessons, man, that I've learned from my father, bro.
Oh my goodness. I just do we all right. Why do you feel like so many young men, or maybe you don't, the young men in this generation are maybe lacking some of that toughness? Like you're seeing the guy on the side of the road texting while his girl is out.
Mhm.
Um, it wh- what's your theory on that?
It's simple, Kurt. I everything that I do, how I think, how I move, all of that, man, is because I had somebody to teach me that. I had somebody to look at, to emulate, to model after, and I truly believe, man, that and no cut against the sisters out here, man, that are making it happen in the absence of fathers and that. Um, but Kurt, my mother and my mother, listen, the sun rises and sets on that woman for me. She's still living, and everything as far as nurturing, as far as kindness and knowing how to treat people and uh um um that type of thing. She provided that in droves, but Kurt, she could not have done that thing that my father, I don't care how hard she tried. And that's why I say this is no cut against women out there that are raising sons, doing everything that they could do to raise them. But Kurt, have, my mother could not have been on a concrete pour with me where I fell down into some concrete. I fell off of some rods and I fell down into some concrete and I would look up to my father and I'm hurt. I think my leg is broken and I got a boot full of concrete. And, my father was like, get up. We're in the middle of a pour. You can be hurt after, but we got to get done with this pour. So get up. It wasn't the, oh, baby, like my mother would have done. Oh,
Mhm,
honey, are you okay? Are you? So Kurt, in my opinion, it's that type of thing that's missing with young men. I am a tough young man. And when I say tough, man, I'm not talking about
mhm.
street shit. I'm sorry.
Go
I,
ahead,
I'm
be yourself, be yourself.
yeah, I'm not talking about the streets and the, I'm talking about the type of tough, man, that if you have children out here, that your needs come second. I'm talking about the type of tough, man, that says that, what they need supersedes how I feel. I'm talking about the type of tough, man. I tell my children, Kurt, that you guys can never, you will never do me any type of way because
Mm,
I've sacrificed too much. I've given up too much. I've been
mhm,
out in sub-zero temperatures, man, where I've forgotten gloves, and if I went home, I wouldn't get paid. And if I didn't get paid, you couldn't get them braces, or you couldn't get them shoes, or you couldn't. So I've had to sacrifice, man. I've had to make the choice, man, of, do I put gas in my car or do I eat so you guys can have? So that's the thing, man, that I think a lot of the youth are missing, man, like seeing those types of sacrifices, man, and having that level of toughness, man, that level of grit that again ain't street, ain't in the rap songs, the type of grit, man, that will make you get up in the morning when you are sick, when you don't feel like it, when you don't want to, and put all of that to the side and go out there and do what you need to do to provide for yours, man.
What you said um, about the type of toughness, I think today, like our young men, especially in the black community, we don't really know what real toughness is. We do. We think it's the rappers
Sure,
with the guns and like we think it's the street dudes. But what you just described is the real toughness because that's the hard thing to do. Doing something, making a sacrifice when you don't feel like doing something, you don't want to do something. You got to work that job that you hate. That is real toughness, and it's the hardest thing to do, in my opinion. And
sure,
um,
sure.
I just that is so true. So you talked earlier about I have a two-part question.
Okay.
First question is you talked earlier about low self-esteem, so I would like you to dive deeper into that, like how you fought against it. But before you do that, I would like you to talk about because you didn't grow up in a type of household, and I grew up in a household similar to that, that you didn't get a lot of affirmations. You didn't have folks
Mhm.
telling you that you can do it. How did you, when you became a father, like what clicked in your head to be like, I need to do this for my kids?
Oh man, that is a great question. Kurt, a lot of that had to do with, having an awareness of the things that if I if I had these things coming up, I know
Mhm.
that my life would have, took a whole different turn. It was the absence of those things that caused me to do a lot of, negative things, seeking that approval and seeking the attaboys that I wish I could. And Kurt, let me be clear, it's not that I don't think that my father, Kurt, he didn't have time. he,
Yeah.
he just didn't have time. If he wasn't at work, he was sleep. If he wasn't sleep, man, he was at work. So it was that he just didn't have the time to do that. And my mother did what she could do, man, but it was a different time, man. It was a different era. They didn't know anything about that. The way they came up, man, they just wanted respectful children. They wanted respectful children. That was a big thing coming up, that I can take my kids anywhere, and they know how to behave, and that was their thing, man. So, instilling self-esteem, self-worth, that value, that type of thing, that just wasn't in their wheelhouse, man. So I know, man, that had a profound effect. Everything from sports, Kurt, to even my schoolwork. If I would have had someone to say the slightest that, hey, listen, you know better than this. You are so much better than this. I
Mm.
just need you to believe it. I need you to believe that. I need you to believe what I see. I know that you're this. And I would, one thing about and I'm kind of jumping around, man. I apologize.
Go ahead.
One thing about my discipline coming up, man, is that my discipline coming up, man, was borderline abuse. And again, I don't say that in a harsh way against my father. My father did what he knew, but we would learn later, man, that it was just way too much.
Mhm.
And what that did, Kurt, is that at some point, man, you say to yourself, you don't do animals like this, man.
Mhm.
I mean, like I'm a person. So you grow up with that thinking that you're less than an animal, man, and nobody is kind of reaffirming to, the other end. So you grow up, man, with some horrible self-esteem, man, and it affected everything, bro. I could have been a better athlete, a better student, a better everything if somebody did to me what I did to my kids, which is the second part of your question, which is that for me, man, it was very important still that, my children were taught and they were raised. But what was equally important, if not more, and what I instilled in them was that you have a brain.
Mhm.
You are intelligent. I don't have to beat you like an animal, right? I think I've had to discipline my children like that. My son maybe once, maybe twice, and my daughter once. And after each one of those things, and I think what stopped it cold, Kurt, was that after that interaction, it was an ideal of sit down and let me talk to you. Let me
Mhm,
tell you who you are.
mhm,
You are intelligent. You have a brain. You have the capability to think and reason. This is so unnecessary. I don't have to do this to you. This is what you do to animals who can't think and reason. They have to be beat into a certain way of action. That's not you. You
mhm.
have a brain. You are smart. So, what I need you to do tomorrow, so we never end up in this spot again, I need you to go to school and I need you to think. I need you to go to school. And if you can't, and instead of trying to be the class clown and this, that, and the other, you bigger than that. You
Mm,
better than that. So I need you to sit there and I need you to, and if you don't get it, I need you to raise your hand. And then so it was much, that was the difference, man, between what I did with my kids and what I didn't get coming up, bro. Just, just to know, man, that I was better than just something to be beat on. And again, I don't want to cast my parents in a bad light. A lot of therapy, man, has taught me
mm.
that they 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 didn't do that because they didn't love me. They did that because they did, but they just didn't know a better way. This is what was done to them.
Yeah,
So you just do things, man, down the line that you think is right until you learn that it's not.
yeah. I agree with that. Like, I just had my mom on,
Mhm,
long ago, and she talked about she grew up around the same time. Actually, yeah, y'all about the same age, so around the same time. And
mhm.
her grandmother, same type of stuff. Like, broke my mom's nose, coming home, daily, like get beat on. And my
Yeah,
mom, had the same sentiment you said. It was like it was just different back then. The mentality, the
sure.
understanding, and she would not speak ill of my grandmother because she said she understood like now as a 50-year-old and having kids and the things she had to endure, the sacrifice she had to make. Did she like it? No, but that's just kinda how it was at that time, um, with their understanding. Not that
Mhm,
everybody got done like that, but, for her situation, that's what it was. So,
sure.
with that being said, I wanted to ask you, how did you fight against the low self-esteem? 'Cause I deal with that. I've dealt with it
Mhm.
growing up. I had to learn how to battle for myself, but how did you learn to overcome that?
You know what, Kurt, for me, and I can only speak for myself here because there's definitely some positives in what I'm about to describe to you, and equally as much negatives. Um, but what changed all of that for me, Curtis, was getting into the gym and changing my physique or getting in shape. Again, for context, I played sports in school, man. We lifted weights here and there, but it was real basic. It was very basic, man, what we did there. I was 19 years old. I was going to a pharmacy to pick up some medicine for my mother. While she was in the pharmacy, I walked out, went around the corner, and I could see that something was going on in this building. Wiped the stuff off wiped the frost off the window and looked in. And man, I saw these dudes. And it was a bodybuilding gym that I was looking into, and I saw these guys, man, and from that moment, man, I wanted to be one of them dudes. Like I was a big dude. I'm 6'3", man. In high school, I was like 225. I ain't have no muscle or nothing, man. I was just a big dude.
Mhm,
So, Kurt, I started working out in this gym. I didn't know what I was doing. Um, I was so I was so self-conscious, Kurt. I would go up and just sit. They had a little bar up at the counter where you would sign in. And I would sit at that bar, man, and I would watch people work out and I would wait for the gym to clear out a little bit. And then I would go and try to mimic the movements in that. I did that for about a year. After that, Vic
mm,
Hoskins would come up to me. And Vic Hoskins, man, looked like an Adonis back around this time. And he would see me on a piece of equipment. Hey man, who you working out with? Again, I'm 19. Vic had to be in his late 20s or 30s. who you working out with, man? I ain't working out with nobody. He said, come on, man. And over the next, I don't know, man, over the next year or so, really got into it, really started learning what I was doing. And um, yeah, I started losing weight. I started getting bigger, man. Now I got, no, I can't, I got to be honest about this, man. I got to be honest about, and this is the negative part about it. Because while I was in there, man, I got introduced to anabolic steroids
Mm,
and played with those for a while, man. And that's when my body really started to change. And now all of a sudden, man, excuse me, all of the women, all of the women that ignored me in high school, all of the, boy, bye. Ain't nobody now
mm,
all of a sudden, man, I am that guy.
yeah.
And I'm not exaggerating. I am that dude. And that did wonders, man,
Mhm,
for my self-esteem, but it was external, man. That did good for a while, but then when you get a little older, man, and the body fades and you start learning more about self-esteem on the inside, which is, being capable, being okay with who you are just for
mhm,
who you are, without the muscles, without the this, without the that. Um, I came up with guys, man, who, they're ballers back in the day, man. And that's the thing about the gym, bro. You're around all kinds of people. And these guys they were everything while they had all the trappings. And
mhm,
then, when they get caught up or whatever, they come home, man, and nobody knows who they are because they ain't got all of that stuff. So
mhm.
uh yeah, man. The gym really helped my self-esteem. If I wouldn't have played with the steroids and if I just would have kept training, bro, I probably would have gotten the same results, if not better. But that definitely increased my self-esteem, that whole process, man, that whole gym process.
So I don't know much about steroids, but I know a lot about having a lot of women. So
Yeah.
can you that side effect, you get into the steroids, your body changes and you get a lot of women. Like what are the negative effects of the steroids? And then with the women, like what is that time like in your life?
uh, the negative effects, bro. I've had 2 kidney transplants.
Mm,
Okay. So, they said that the steroids did not cause my kidney disease that would ultimately, take my kidneys, but it accelerated it,
mm,
right? So I would definitely say, man, that, there was a there's a good chance, man, that, maybe I would just be on my first transplant now instead of 2 if I hadn't taken those. um, so that's a negative effect, man. I had some roid rage issues. I have a younger sister who is my heart, man. I love her to death. And, we had an incident while I was living at home where I slapped my sister, man. And this was some roid rage stuff. I've pulled people out of cars.
mhm,
I'm lucky I'm still alive, man, when I look back on that type of stuff. So definitely, man, definitely some negatives there in behaviors. I was going at it one time just to show you what type of dude my father was. I was going at it one time with my mom, man, and you know, I gotta be like 21, 22, Kurt, and my
mhm.
mother is telling me something and I'm going back and forth with her, man, and I look up, man, and the only thing I see is this iron from my father, and ugh, and you get now he couldn't do nothing with me, man. I mean, I'm 260 full of muscles, but he could do something with me. He
Yeah,
hit me, he cracked me with that iron, man. It was like, hey, I don't care how
yeah,
much muscle you got, you're getting too loud in here.
yeah.
So, that type of stuff, man, was definitely negatives. As far as the women, Kurt, yeah, man. To go from where I was at, and that was probably maybe a girlfriend or two
Mhm,
in high school, to go from that, man, to where women that at one time, you're like dreaming about it, you're idolizing them, to have these women now, not that I'm pursuing them, but they're pursuing me.
mhm,
It was something, man. You talk about a self-esteem boost, man, to have beautiful women that your contemporaries are everybody's going after, and they come to you. They're
Mhm.
coming to you like, "What's your name? Where you from? What you," and yeah, man, you talk about a confidence boost out of this world. It was as a young man,
Yeah.
that was a pretty good time, man. That was a pretty good time. I came from.
So, just quickly, like, what did you find? What's at the end of that road though? Like with the women, like how did you transition? And because I know you got married, we're gonna talk about that a little bit. But how did you?
Yeah.
What did you find at the end of that road?
Um, Vanity, like the Bible says, chasing wind, and you get to a point in life, man, where or you should, I should say, it happened for me, man, where you start getting older, man, and yeah, stuff that was cool, man, when you 20 shouldn't be cool
Mm,
when you 30. Like if you're growing, and if the maturation process in your mind is happening the way that it should, yeah, man, you should be growing and you should be changing. So yeah, man, when I was 20, to be walking out with a baddie and knocking this one down and knocking, yeah, that was cool when you 20, man. But right around 27, 28, man, yeah, things changed, man. That wasn't as appealing
mhm.
to me as it was when I was younger. So, at the end of that road, man, I tell people my steroid usage just resulted, man, in a lot of attention from probably women I had no business being around.
Yeah. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
okay. So I kind of want to. I don't want to transition, but I want to ask you for the young man out there. Um, what should young men understand about hard work and self esteem?
I think for a man, when it comes to hard work, curse that's par for the course. Like you're a man. Like I heard a guy say it best that broad shoulders are built for stress, not hips. In other words, it's not for a woman to be
Yeah.
strong, and I don't think she's really operating. I don't think she's operating in what she truly should be operating in if she has to be strong like you. That is your job. That's your position to be the hard worker, the one that goes through the fire for the family. That's what's expected of you as a man. I don't expect a pat on my shoulder for being that way, Kurt. That's how I am. That's how a man should be. Hard work is just par for the course, and you can do it smarter, man, or you can do it in a different way. But if your chick is outworking you, bro, that's a problem. And again, I'm not downing women. I'm just saying that when it comes to hard stuff, this is the way I can kind of summarize that. Bro, you're the one that's expected. If you look back through time and history, it was the men that had to go out and prove themselves. When you're 16, you go out. The elders of the village will send you out with a spear and no food for 6 months. And if you make it back, you make it back. And if you don't, you don't. That
Mhm.
was expected of men. They weren't doing that with the women of the village. It was the man, again, back in history, that had to go out and build the home for the woman that he wanted to prove to the dad that he was worthy. Hard work. Like that's par for the course. That's what we do as men. So my message to any young man would be, yes, times are different, and technology allows you to have access to different things now, but the foundation or the base is still the same, man, is that it's not supposed to be easy for you. You're a man. You're a man. You're supposed to do hard. You're supposed to do hard. And again, in this climate, man, that comes off as, yeah, that's kind of archaic. That's kind of no, I don't believe that, man. I believe that is what it is. And all you have to do is listen to women. You listen to women like, oh, he don't know how to do nothing. He don't work. He don't, bro, the expectation is that you should be doing these things,
Mhm.
right? So, as far as hard work goes, man, that would be my message to any young man. Kurt, I'm 56 years old. I drive a truck for a living, man, but I'm tired. I'm tired at the end of the night. And for the last 4 years, man, um, I shouldn't say 4 years, for the last 2 years, I get off work, man. I open up that computer, and whether it's editing, whether it's shoot, Kurt, I'm up till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I get off at 11 o'clock. I'm up for the last year easily. I'm up till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning every night, and that's hard to get up and go to work the next day and do these things. But I do hard. That's what a man is supposed to do. I have a wonderful fiance, man. I have some plans for me and her that's going to take money, just like my father said back in the day. It's going to take money out here. So I
Mhm.
can't come home and go to bed. She can, but I can't. I got to get this done. So doing hard things, man, over and over again for a man, Kurt, that's just what we do. My son comes with me with his hard. That's what it is, man. You just got to battle through that, bro. That's what we do. We do hard, right?
Mhm. Do you feel like the young men have lost that mentality today?
Kurt, I don't think many of them have ever been taught that to begin with.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah, honestly. Again, man, everything that I am telling you about, Kurt, I consider myself a man through and through. But the only reason I consider myself a man is because I was made by one,
mm,
right? And, the absence of that today, the absence of fathers in the home and um, you know, that gets into a marriage thing, man, that, I had to find out some different things about once I got a little older when it comes to that. But the absence of our fathers today has put it or has made it so that a lot of these young men aren't learning that. Kurt, you can't get this from mom. I know mama love you. Mama can sit up cans outside and teach you football moves and she can do all of that stuff. But this stuff that I'm talking to you about now, and no cut on them. But bro, a woman cannot teach a man how to be a man, no more than a man can teach a woman how to be or a girl how to be a woman. No matter how much you try. I love my daughter. I've been to the plays.
yeah.
I've done dress up. I've done all of that. But Kurt, I can't do that like her mama do it.
Mhm.
See? So yeah, man, I don't think they've ever learned, man. And what they're learning from culture, they're learning from music. And it's all the wrong stuff, bro.
Mhm.
It's all the wrong stuff. Yeah,
I think, especially in our community, the divorce rate and then just the amount of single parent households, man, is really killing us. And I see it in so I coach, so I'm around young kids a lot. And like we have a
hmm
hard day, whether it be in a weight room or we had a hard day recently where the kids had to run and it ruined practice. Like they couldn't get past the fact that they had to run and they didn't have the exact amount of seconds that they need. So
hmm
mentally, they couldn't get past it. They started crying and complaining, and I, uh, had to talk to them a little bit like, "Man, y'all don't know, like, this is what life is about to be like. It's not gonna be
sure,
fair most of the time." And many of us today, we just unfortunately, I think we're learning that too late. That's why I love your platform, man, because you're telling us, like, at the age that we need to learn it, like, before it's too late.
sure.
Um, so what are your speaking of that, about our timing, what are your thoughts on young men, like, running out of time and wasting years?
Oh man. Yeah, that is something, man, that I could speak to for real, man. Again, that's the core of my entire channel, man, is you think you have time. Kurt, I can remember, I'm 56. Kurt, I can remember 26 like it was yesterday. I can remember what I would be doing on the weekend, the clubs, who I was dating, man, I can remember that like it was yesterday. And Kurt, that was 30 years ago. It has gone by that fast. So again, the core of my channel, man, is that you think you have time.
Mhm.
You think you do. And you do, but you're going to run out of it. You're going to run out of it because you're not doing the things that you need to be doing with your time now because you're distracted. You're running after women. You are You're hanging out, you're doing all of this stuff because you're young. I got time. I can get to that da 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 whenever. And bro, you're going to blink. You're going to blink. My son is telling me about it right now. Pop, I remember when you said, because he's 28 now. So, I can remember 20 and it's going like that.
Mhm.
So it's the idea, Kurt, of doing something with this time now while you're young. Kurt, I could have been, if I had the game that I have now. I just told you how I stay up late. I do
Mhm.
hard stuff. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to, not series. I'm willing to do delayed gratification and just work until I get there. That's fine now, Kurt, but I'm up against it. I'm 56. The reality of it is, man, if God is gracious, I probably got another 20 years, man, before I'm in the dirt. So all of this stuff, man, that I'm doing now, if I would have done back when I was 20, oh
Mhm.
my God. Kurt, there's no question. And I'm not saying this facetiously. I'm not blowing smoke at you. The work ethic and the stuff that I'm doing now, the way I apply myself, the way that I am, my consistency, the way I'm doing what I'm doing now. Kurt, if I would have been doing this at 20 by now, yeah, bro, we'd be having a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
Whole different conversation. So you waste a lot of that time, man. And that's what I am desperately trying to get across to these young men that I talk to, is that if I had a chance to go back, I would value my time more and I wouldn't have been so distracted with all of the stuff that would ultimately profit me nothing. All of the women and all of the relationships and all of that stuff that I put so much value in. I could have been putting value, man, in building myself, building my finances, having being able to do with my children. That's another regret that I have. Kurt, I raised my kids, man. I never missed a game. Was every weekend. I did that thing. But Kurt, I could have done so much more. I could have really prepared them, really set them up to be in a pet. And don't get me wrong, my kids are doing phenomenally now. But Kurt, they could have done so much better if I wasn't distracted with all of the crazy that I
Mhm.
was distracted with in my 20s. um, yeah, man, could have had them set. And that's the whole goal. I understand that better now. You have kids, man. The ideal and the goal is to get them up and make and put them in a position where they could do better than what you ever could have done. And I dropped the ball on that a lot, man, because of being distracted and wasting time.
So for the young man that is distracted, the young men are gonna hear this. What should
Mhm.
they be doing?
Kurt, you should be finding out, like again, I think back about like when I was in my 20s. I'm gonna give young men, I'm gonna give you 2 or 3 years out of high school. I'm give you that, man, to just be young and do what you need to do. We talk about it all the time, Kurt, how, you're if you're in the gym, man, and you're in your upper 20s and you still talking about the chick with the big,
Mm.
yeah, man, you getting time out for that. You need to be thinking about different stuff. So what they should be doing, Kurt, is you need to find something that you're interested in, that you're good at. And you need to start developing a way that you can monetize that. It's not good enough to be good at it. You want to take the time, man, to become great at something. And Kurt, that don't have to be, it could be YouTube, it could be a trade. You need to find some type of skill that you can become really, really good at, right? That you can master and, become so good at that, man, that, you can make a really good living for yourself and you can monetize that in some type of way. That's the first thing, skill wise, man. Then money wise, man, all of the, cars and the clothes. And, I was that dude, Kurt. I was the $600 pants and the $800 gaiters. I
Mhm.
was that dude. And didn't have two nickels to rub together. Looked good, dressed good, drove good, but and I didn't have that, man, because I made money, but I didn't manage it well. So this is the time, man, you learn how to manage money. You learn how to be a good steward about money. Kurt, I had bought a house My first house I bought, I was maybe 28, 29. Kurt, I bought a whole house and had no idea about interest and principal. I
Yeah.
learned about that a year after I bought the house. I was having a conversation with a guy at my job. He was like, "What's your interest rate?" I was like, "Huh? What do you mean?" And he explained it to me, man. And I went home and but I was 28. If I
Mhm.
would have known about that when I was in my early 20s, I could have made better purchases. I could have done different things, could have invested my money. But again, distracted, man. Distracted with all of the other crazy. And while our counterparts are learning this stuff early, again, we still caught on the chick in the gym with the nice shape,
Mhm.
right? So yeah, man, what young men should be doing in their 20s. And I'm not saying, man, that doesn't mean, Kurt, that you walk around like a Shaolin monk for the, better part of your 20s, just, grinding. It means, man, that you prioritize learning a skill, finding something that there was a time where I was saying, something that you're passionate about. Passion is cool, man. Passion gets you off the couch. But at the end of the day, man, when the passion fades, you still need to go and do this thing. So you need to find something, man, that you can put time into because that's what it's going to take, man. It's going to take time. This whole, I can start this thing tomorrow. Kurt, I've been in YouTube now for 4 years and I'm making a little money. I mean, I ain't knocking down nobody's bank with what I'm making. But if you listen to people, oh, you can start this tomorrow and next week you'll be a millionaire. And that's total BS, man. That doesn't work. You're gonna have to put time, a whole lot of time, in becoming good at a thing. And that's why it's so important for you to start when you're in your 20s. Instead of jacking all of that time away on nothing,
Mhm.
you want to start getting a thing, man, that you can learn, that you can become good at, that you would be that you can put time into to become good at, man. You want to learn finances. You want to do this stuff so when that thing that you're learning breaks out,
Mhm.
now you know what to do with the money. You ain't spending it on cars and clothes and trying to impress chicks. You ain't doing none of that. You want to put the time in and you know what to do with money now. So that type of thing, man. What else? I think those are the main two, bro.
Yeah.
The main two is finding you something, finding a skill, and learning about money, bro. Learning how money works.
I think that's really important, as I'm hitting my 30s, I really can attest to that. But I think another thing that you talk about that really piqued my interest that a lot of guys don't understand, maybe because we don't have enough education, is when should a man pursue a woman?
Mm, it's a great question, man. Great question. Um, I will tell you, man, that I pursued them all my life. That was kind of the problem.
Yeah.
Uh, based on what I know now, man, because like I said, Kurt, I've had good jobs since
Mhm.
I was 19 years old. I've never made under $20 an hour since I was 19. So I've always had good jobs. I've always had a vehicle and a means to take care of a family. um, what I didn't have, man, what I didn't have is the mindset, man, that says it goes way beyond putting a roof over your head and putting clothes on your back. That's what I learned coming up. My father took care of us. He provided for us. And, quite naturally, you get to an age, man, you want your own family. You want to be able to do the same thing. And by and large, I was able to do that, man. But there was so much more that I was supposed to be doing, that my mind wasn't ready to do.
Mhm.
So I would say, man, that when you get to a point, um, when you should be seriously thinking about, family, marriage, that type of thing, bro, it has to go. You have to be in a position where you can go beyond just putting a roof over, just putting a roof over your children's head and clothes on their back. Are you able to put them in the best schools?
Mhm.
Do you make enough to be able to, you know, uh, and this is a little bit in depth because you got to have the right woman for this. And that goes into having enough resources, man, where you don't have to settle for a certain woman. You can pick the one that is best for what it is that you're trying to do with your family. So to have a woman that you can sit down and let her nurture your children while you're out here grinding. Bro, you got to have money to be able to do that. See, now you need two incomes, maybe even three to make a household work.
Mhm.
Um, and back then, yeah, that's just what we do. But knowing what I know now, yeah, man, I wouldn't have settled down so quick because I wasn't in a position to do those things, man. I made money, but my mind wasn't right to be able to put this money in positions where it could further my children even more. My money wasn't right enough to sit my woman down so she can raise our children, and I can, because it's, her being at home with them is infinitely better than any daycare, right?
Mhm.
We just do that now because we have to. But yeah, man, when you're in a position financially and mentally where everything, man, can be about bettering the lives of your children. Because Kirk, that's what it's supposed to be about. Media and culture has taught you that it's supposed to be about love and, running through the daisies barefoot and all of that stuff. No, man, the reality of it is, for me at least, the reality of it is, man, the whole ideal of, marriage and that type of thing, bro, and settling down with a woman and having a family is the kids that you produce as a result of it, right? And wanting them to and bringing them up to be better, or bringing them up to have more of a shot of a better life than you could have had. So to answer your question, man, yeah, I'm thinking, it's when you can do that. It's when you can do that is when you should be thinking about settling down. Again, if you are still, wanting to run around, if you are still trying to put money into them rims or them, or the latest this, that, and the other, bro, you ain't ready. You just
Yeah.
ain't ready. Yeah.
Okay, so when a man is ready, like what should man know about marriage? Like, getting married young or just in general? Just what should we know about marriage?
You should know, Kurt, that's a great question, man. You should know, brother, that it's more than just the tingly feeling in
Mhm.
your stomach. It's more than, just wanting a good looking chick. It's more than we just being in love, brother. It's about commitment. It is about commitment. It is about being, honoring what you say you're going to do, because that stuff is going to go away. The ideal of, she's great looking and she's this and she's that, age, bro, and I know that for a fact because, what used to live upstairs when I was in my 20s
Mhm.
lives downstairs now. So I don't look the same. I ain't
Yeah.
the same dude I was at
Yeah.
26.
Uh-huh.
So it's the idea, man, of knowing that, there's something bigger with what we're doing here. It's bigger than the marriage ceremony. It's bigger than the pictures. It's bigger than all of that stuff. We're going to bring a life or lives into this world, that we're responsible for. And that's bigger than how I feel about you on any one given day. I heard a pastor say it once that, I may not, there's days that I may not love you or even like you, but I'm still committed to you. I'm still committed to the process of raising these children that we decided to bring into this world, right? That are dependent on us. We talked earlier, man, about how, with the missing fathers, how much sons are missing out on as a result of that. So if your commitment when you're with a woman is to make sure that you're in place like that, then yeah, if we're having a good or bad day, if I don't like you today, yeah, I may love you, but I may not like you today. But for the sake of this son that I have to do this thing with, because he ain't gonna be 7 forever, I got to teach him. I have to be here. Kurt, that's one of my biggest regrets with my children, man. And I have great kids. They're doing well in life. But Kurt, one of my biggest regrets, and I have many of them, is that I was not in the home with them during their formative years. And I saw him every week. I did the weekend dad thing perfectly. But brother, I wasn't there. And I wasn't there because, you know what? I cared more about my feelings and my this, that, and the other. And mom did too, to some extent. We cared more about that than we cared about making sure that we were doing what was right by them. Because if I look back on it now, man, yeah, I would, and I don't, let me put a caveat to this because I will not ever recommend that you stay in a bad relationship for the sake of your children. I would say that you make your relationship better for the sake of your children and you stay.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, man, that's one of my biggest regrets, Kurt, that we drug up too quick and we drug up too quick because I ain't in love anymore. I ain't feeling you like that. I ain't got nothing to do with you once these kids get into play. It's all about them, bro, and what they need or what you need to do for them to put them in the best position that you can.
Man, that's so true. That's so true and interesting. I come from a single parent household, and I had a clip go viral recently about that very topic, man. So that's certainly a big issue and kind of a difficult, complicated situation when it comes to divorce and leaving and separation. Um, but because I've talked to men, some men don't like their marriage, they contemplating divorce.
Hmm.
Some men have gone through it. So as a person who has been through it, Willie, what should we know? What should the guys know out there about divorce, like an effect that we might not, know or understand without going through it?
Hmm. Great question, man. I've been through three of them, unfortunately. And the thing that I look back on now, man, and I wasn't really aware of when I was going through them, man, is the time that you lose because you have to rebuild, man. After each one of these things, you stay with somebody, man. You stay with somebody a year, and y'all separate, man. There's some stuff that has to go on,
Mhm.
financially, emotionally, everything to separate from that thing. So you extrapolate that, man, to 5 and 10 years with somebody that you've had a life with, man, and now you have to we ain't even talking about the kids yet. We just talking about stuff and feelings and that type of thing. And all the time you're trying to untangle all of that, Kurt, that clock is ticking. It
Mm.
don't stop. It don't stop. So if it takes you a year or two to get back on your feet because you got to pay child support and there's spousal support and you got to do all of this stuff, man, and you got to figure out how to live again, on your own, bro. That's time that that you can be putting money in a retirement. That's time that you and your chick could be putting money towards the private schools for your kids. That's time that
Mhm.
y'all could be saving. Yeah, so you lose time, bro. You lose time. I can't, one of my divorces, man, I had to file a bankruptcy with. So 7 years before that has to come off of my credit report that I can't get back, right? Going back to mama's house. I've had to do that on a couple of occasions as a result of a divorce, man. Sleeping on the floor. You don't think about it, man, when you're going through it because you're going through it. But in retrospect, man, I lost so much time, bro. I'm behind to this day. To this very day, man, I am behind as a result of going through three divorces, right?
Mm.
So I would encourage any man, if you don't have kids, if you don't have kids, man, I really don't care. You go your way, do your thing, she go, because y'all grown, y'all can figure it out.
Yeah.
But if you have children, man, and again, I would never suggest to anybody to stay in a bad situation for the sake of your kids. But what I will say is that your kids are important enough for you to fix that stuff so both of y'all can be there, contributing to what that child needs to be better than what you were. The child is more important than you is
Mm.
what I would say. So yeah, man. Again, I would never tell anybody, well, for the sake of the kids, you can't stand her, she can't stand you. Y'all ain't interested in fixing nothing. Y'all just want to stay there miserably. Absolutely not.
Mm.
Absolutely not. But for the sake of our child, we gonna go to counseling. We gonna swallow pride and ego, and we gonna make this thing happen for the sake of our children. Absolutely, all day and every day, Kurt.
Man, as a son who went through that, that does something for me just to hear you say it, because I think a lot of men and women today are on the side that, as soon as we are unhappy, we got to just split it up and we'll
Yeah,
figure it out. And if we're not
yeah,
happy, then it's not worth it. But I agree with you. I definitely think it is worth it for the kids. As a person
sure.
who grew up in a single parent household, There's some things that I missed, not having it. Um, but and one of the things I missed which led me to seek a lot of validation and, uh,
Mhm.
go down the wrong path because I wanted to be accepted. And I see that a lot today with my players hanging out with the wrong type of people. And I can, when you're older, you just kind of see stuff like, man, that used to be me. And
Mhm.
if I would have had the self esteem to step out and be with, hang around the people who are lined up to go to places I wanted to go, I would have been better. So I want to transition a little bit. How do I know when it's time to leave my boys and leave that group and transition? Kind of cut my friends off to kind of do what I want to do in life.
Mm. That's a good question, man. Kurt, I spent a lot of time, man. I spent a lot of time in gym circles, man. So that's my frame of reference for a lot of stuff. And I will tell you, man, like Kurt, like you start seeing things in your circle, or you start seeing things, man. Like I can remember being in the gym, man, and at one point in time, everything was about getting to this weight. I want to be able to bench this, or losing this weight, or getting ready for this show. That's what we lived for, man. Everything was about, oh, look at her over there, and that whole thing. And what starts happening, man, what starts happening is, you start hearing and you start seeing different things, man, where, again, you still talking about the chick, and meanwhile over here, they talking about, you know, uh, 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 you know, starting this business. They talking about, buying a new house. They talking about, getting their money together. Like, man, because it starts changing, or the conversation starts changing, man. It may be somebody in your group that again, the conversation just becomes different, man, and that, okay, yeah, this ain't we shouldn't be doing this no more.
Yeah.
Like, we shouldn't be talking about this. Like, there's bigger stuff out here.
Yeah.
I knew it, man. I knew it, like, in my 20s. Like I said, man, I would working out in that gym, man. So many different types of people that I worked out with, and I would just say, man, our the um, I don't want to turn this into a race thing, but I can't say it any other way. The white guys, man, that I trained with, again, the conversations were different. We were talking about the chick with the big, and again, they're talking about, starting a business, and they and I just bought this house, and and you sitting here like, you did what? Wait a minute. I thought we were going out and we was drinking later on, or we were, so you get these subtle hints, man, that it's just time to do something different, bro. I can remember going to clubs. I stopped going to the club somewhere around 29, 30. And you would go in there, man, and you just like, man, this just ain't it.
Mhm.
This just ain't it no more. So I think, man, for me, Kurt, you just start getting those subtle clues, man, that you're no longer, you're no longer about this. Now that could be difficult. That can be difficult. I just did a video on how, if you're in a group, man, and you're ready to change, you have to be careful, because it would be the people in that group that will try to mess up that change all day long. Be the one when everybody is kicking it and drinking and smoking and playing the game, and be the one that say, you know what, y'all, we getting too old for this. We really need to start doing some. Be the one to do that. It'll be your dudes
Mhm.
that'll be like, man, you trying to act brand new. You want some different type stuff, whatever, whatever. So you got to be careful about that, man. But you will see, man. Like, for me, man, I just knew. I was just on a different level of stuff, man. I just started thinking differently, and I'm listening to what's going on over here. Then I'm listening to what's going on over here, and I'm like, yeah, man, that's stupid. Like, why are we still doing that? Like,
Mhm.
and I started moving more. So I think you just know, Kurt. When it's time. When you outgrow your circle, man. You'll know it. You'll just know it, bro.
Yeah, that's so true. I think so many of us know it. It's just making that step. It's
Sure.
making that step and having to deal with, like you said, you know, the guys that you've been tight with for a minute. You love them, but you just know it's
Right.
kind of is. You don't want your life to look like this. for the rest of it,
Mhm.
and that's hard to make the transition.
It really is, man. It really is, and I think that that keeps a lot of young men stuck, that they don't love themselves enough. See, at 56, man, I can tell you now that I love me enough to where I ain't letting you bring me nowhere I don't wanna go.
Yeah.
I love me too much, you know? So, but I didn't have that at 26, man. To what, to your point earlier, you know, validation, man, from my peers and that was everything. So, I think, Kurt, in the absence of that, if I had something worthwhile to do, and this is why it goes back to finding that skill or something. If you have something worthwhile enough to do, it's easy to walk away from that friend circle, man. If you have something else you're working towards, if everybody drinking, if everybody smoking dope, if everybody chasing women, we all doing the same thing, then what's there to strive towards? But if you got something in that, hey man, I just learned this, you know, I'm in school for this, or I'm learning this skill, I'm in apprenticeship training for this, or I started a YouTube channel and I'm doing, you got something else, man, to occupy your time,
Mhm.
right? You got something else to occupy your mind. So now that makes it a little easier to step away. I think a lot of kids can't step away, man, because they ain't got nothing else. All they got is they boys. All they got is the BS that they do. They don't know anything different. And that makes it a little harder to step away, Kurt.
Man, that's it's real and it's true. It's real and it's true.
Yeah.
Um, can you just quickly, can you speak to, like, the validation and, well, we talked about that a little bit, but just one more time, can you talk about how for the kids struggling with that and struggling with wanting the validation, but understanding that it's not really fruitful, what does he have to do to transition it and grow?
Learn how to do something.
Yeah.
Learn how to do something. I don't care what it, and it's so much easier for young men today because of Kurt, you can learn anything on YouTube. I took my channel from 0 to 48 something thousand subscribers on YouTube, learning from YouTube. When I was coming up, man, if you wanted to learn how to do something different, you had to go to libraries, you had to beg people to teach you, you had to do, you know, go to bookstores, and you ain't got to do none of that now, man. You can get online and learn anything. So I don't care what it is, man. Start with your car. Start with start with something around your house. Just learn how to do something. Competence, man. Competence, for me, is a big confidence booster. Like I said, the confidence that I have in myself, man, that I, you know, you can put me on a bus and I'll get off anywhere and eat. That's a confidence builder, man. But that all started from back with my father, like learning how to do different stuff and having the ability to be able to do that stuff, man. So I would tell any young person now, if you want to be confident, yes, listen, you can be confident in yourself and in your being and in your person all day long. And that's good. That is absolutely good. But at the end of the day, bro, you gotta you know, being able to handle something, being able to fix something, being able to know how to, bro, that's big, man. That's big. And that would be my thing, man. You know, learn how to validate yourself and validate yourself from learning how to do something.
Mhm.
You know,
Mm.
Kurt, when it comes to my YouTube, man, and my fiance can tell you, when I started this, man, Kurt, every other thing I was doing, honey, how do you do this? Honey, how do I do it? You know, and it was like exasperating for her because she's looking at me like, you don't know how to do this simple stuff on this computer. Whereas now, man, I can do this stuff like clockwork. And that's a confidence builder for me, man. That I learned how to upload videos. I learned how to edit. I'm on somebody's podcast today, and and 4 years ago, man, I didn't even know what YouTube was. So Kurt, it really is, to me, it really is the idea, man, of you got to learn how to do something. You got to learn how to do something, man, and that will build your confidence, and you'll be able to validate yourself instead of having other people do that for you.
Yeah, and, uh, for me personally right now, that has been something that has really helped me to get through the days at work that I didn't wanna go,
Mhm.
is finding a passion, building something, this podcast, and,
Yeah.
just leaning into purpose. But I wanted to ask you, too, because you do talk about a lot of guys running out of time. But you found you I feel like, you walking in a purpose, but you found like a purpose and passion project later on. So what advice do you have to the older man out there? Because I see a lot of older men. I mean, we all got the uncles, and the cousins that are just not really doing anything. So what advice do you got to the older guys out there about trying to find purpose and finding a passion project later on in life?
Mm, it's a good question, Kurt. I think the same thing that I said about the younger guys. Is so much easier now
Mhm.
for you to learn anything. I'm 56, man. I mean, I started this 4 years ago, and again, it would have been very hard back in my day to do this without all of the videos and the Google and the chat GBTs that can show you, that can teach you how to do anything. So, you know what, man, you just got to start. Like I know I'm up against time, man. I know I am, being as old as I am. But I would tell you, brother, I have something to do now, and the learning is the fun part, man. See, when you can get beyond the, what, I'm gonna make $1 million tomorrow,
Mhm.
you can really enjoy the journey, man, the process of becoming good at something. I know this my channel isn't the best out there, but it is absolutely better than it was when I started it.
Mhm.
So for the older men to have something to do, man, besides, just coming in from work and watching Netflix and having a shot or a beer, like this is exciting for me, man. Don't get me wrong. It gets on my nerves. Sometimes I get frustrated. But at 56, man, to have something to do
Mhm.
besides just come in and bug my chick all day long, man, and get on her nerves because I ain't got nothing else to do. And she looking at me like, are you gonna go to the gym? Are you gonna do something? Like that's big for me, man. Like I have something to have something to do, to have something to look forward to besides just going to work and coming home. That's huge, man. So I would encourage any man. Now it ain't got to be YouTube. There's something that you want lived 50 some years, man. There's something that you like. There's something
Mhm.
that you interested in. Get on YouTube and find out what you've always wanted to know about it, or dive deeper into it and learn it more. If you want to start a YouTube channel on it, do that. But it is the idea, man, of it's having something to do besides just the mundane everyday going to work. Yeah, bro. You can't beat having something else to do, right? So I would tell any older man, it is not too late. Again, I'm in my 50s. Kurt, I've listened to people on YouTube who are making tons of money out here, and they're in their 50s, they're in their 60s. All they did, man, was find something that they liked or something that they was interested in, and they start learning about it. Then they got on YouTube and start telling somebody about it. But you ain't got to tell nobody about it. You can learn how to do it better and find out another way to make money off of it. But again, bro, for me, it is being older. It is the having this sense, man, of like I got something to do every day, man, and I love that. Besides just going to work.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
Man, nah, I think it's powerful, man. I don't think, I know it's powerful. I think sometimes we just get so complacent where we are and we just kind of give up. But man, your story and what you're doing is inspiring me, and I just know it's gonna inspire many people. I mean, you already are. It's already worldwide, you know that. But man, I
yeah,
just
yeah.
I just love what you're doing. I can't reiterate that enough. I can't reiterate
I
that.
appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. Like I said, I wish I could tell y'all young men how to get out here and make 1 million. I'm on the way to that.
Yeah.
I'm on the way,
Yeah.
but I ain't there yet. But what I can tell you guys, and I said it from the beginning, Kurt, if there is one young man, it makes it worth it for me. I got a job, man. So,
Mhm.
I make money. For me, man, I really have a heart, man, because I know what it's like to kind of look back and be like, man, I missed it. God, I missed it. I just missed it.
Mhm.
And, to be a 50 some year old man looking back and not being able to really do anything about that, what I can do. And if I can do this for one young man, then it's worth it for me. The staying up late at night, the learning how to do this stuff, the all of the stuff that I have to do to make this go is worth it to me, man. If there's one young man that can kind of alter his course early enough to where he can get to where I'm at now and be set, it's worth it, bro.
Oh man, I love that. I love that. So,
Yeah.
well, Wayne, really, I want to thank you for a great episode. This is, um, man, I keep saying this, but this is probably my favorite episode. Like, like I don't, I've been. Is this is just great, like being able to talk to you and just being curious and just having real conversations and this conversation and this time with you, man. But where can they find you? Social media handles, courses, things like that.
You know what, man? That is a great question. I know that you can go to YouTube, and I
Mm,
am just the over 50 guy. I have a community, man, that I'm just starting, a school community, and I apologize, man. I don't have the link for that. Maybe I can give it to you later, and you can link it in the episode here.
mhm,
We can do it that way. But just basically on YouTube, man, I was on Instagram and Twitter and all of that stuff, and I just narrowed everything down to YouTube, man. But you can find my books, my courses, that community on my in the video description of my YouTube videos.
mhm,
And basically I'm just there, man. So everything about me is on there. I have like over 400 some videos dealing with everything from money to relationships to co-parenting, everything, man, that I kind of dropped the ball on. I talk about it in those videos to just kind of help young men to make better decisions, man, or make the decisions that I didn't make to have,
mhm.
a different outcome than I have right now.
Oh man, we love that, and I just appreciate your time. Thank you, well, for coming and showing up to the Mail to Man podcast. It's been a great episode today, um, with the online dad Willie McKinney, just over 50 guy, and we just thank you, man. Tune in for the next show. Thank you.
I appreciate you, man. Appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you for having me, young brother.